Welcome to the Chris Hamilton Show. And I've decided that this show, I'm going to give y'all a glimpse of my new book that I'm working on called My Life. And I had a tremendously unbelievable life. You're not gonna, you can't possibly imagine the life that I had. And I don't take away nobody else's life and what they went through. I'm not gonna be judgmental of somebody else's life and try to dictate, and try to, present my life as if I'm the only one who went through some of the things that I went through. I ain't gonna do that. That ain't my position to try to, lower or downrate another man's life and what he's been through. Because, what all of us been through is meaningful and means something to us as individuals. So that's not my position right now. I'm just here to tell you about my life. Whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it, or whether you feel like I ain't been through shit and what you've been through is worse, that's not my point here. Because I learned to be honest. I feel like the only way I can be honest is start practicing honesty and start saying to myself, I don't care what people think about me. I gotta first lose the filth. I gotta first lose being affected by what other people think about me. And that has always affected me and always made me feel a certain way, But then I started to say, can't nobody else, save my soul. Can't nobody get me into heaven. Can't nobody make me be a great father. Can't nobody make me be a great friend. So it really don't matter what nobody think if what they think is not supporting my life in any kind of way. So I lost that. So the story about my life is just a true story that I feel like sharing with the world. And it's crazy that I got to the point, even though I've been writing on a book, but for me to, actually go on, YouTube's or any kind of social media and express my truest empathy and sympathy of my life and what I've been through is amazing. That I've reached that level of confidence to share my experience and my life story with the world. However, I guess let's get started with my life, and I guess I gotta start from the beginning. Me being a 70 baby, born in 76, not knowing that the world I was born into was so orchestrated, so demanding. I really feel like I'd have been better off being the seed that didn't make it to the egg. I'm thinking that the seeds that didn't make it, the sperm that didn't make it to the egg, are the lucky ones, or the blessed ones. Cause to have to try to, to live in this world and come in this world and deal with so much madness, sadness, depressions, anxieties, frustration, disappointments, to have to face this mortality for me has been a great experience, but also a detrimental experience. I had good times, I had bad times, but what I found out, the good times was bad times and the bad times were good times. But anyway, when I was born, my mom, she was living in poverty. And she ain't have nothing. She ain't have no man helping her, help her support her children. And we barely was making it because my mom didn't have a college education, and she didn't have no steady job. So our household was suffering the technicality of poverty. I remember it was times we used to have to eat mayonnaise sandwiches, and I'm not trying to be funny right now. We literally ate mayonnaise sandwiches. We took mayonnaise and rubbed it between two pieces of bread just to put something on our stomach. And if you don't know what that's like, then you don't know what I mean. You don't know how I feel. If you don't know what that's like, then you think I'm just talking, out the side of my mouth. But we really ate mayonnaise sandwiches just to survive. And when I think back, I just know that it's something greater than me. So that's why I confide in a creator, because I can't give myself no credit for nothing that I sustained, nothing that I survived. And I have to give credit to something that's greater than me, and all I know is, the Father, the Son. So here I am, just a kid in elementary, and all I know is I'm coming home hungry, and my mom can't feed me. And all I know is that the majority of the people that I admired and the people that I associated myself with was known drug dealers in the neighborhood. And the reason I confined to them is because I respected their lifestyle. And, at the age I was at, I commended their lifestyle because I watched the news whenever our lights was on and I could watch TV. I watched the news, and all I saw was bloodshed and drug activity on the rise and prostitution on the rise. That's all I saw on the news. And when I saw brothers that was in my neighborhood that was older than me that was putting their life on the line to survive, it was intriguing. It was motivation, with me not having nothing and going home to an empty refrigerator. So for a while it was me and my sister. And after a while, because we was born and raised in a Christianity environment, for lack of better words. And when I say Christianity, I don't necessarily mean that we was holy or that we was beyond average. I say Christianity because we went to church every goddamn day. I remember Monday, Bible study, Tuesday, park association, Wednesdays, commune, Thursday. I mean, I was raised in that environment where I went to church at least 5 times a week. And now I can respect the quality, and I can respect the vision. But back then, I didn't want to go to church no more. I wasn't excited to go to no church. I went too much. I had to go too much. I didn't want to go no more. So when I say that we was raised in a Christian environment, it wasn't that we was perfect. It was that nigga used to go to church so goddamn much. So we was Christians. But anyway, I'm not mad at that. I don't hate that, or that's not what I'm suggesting or identifying in. All I can say is that growing up, my parents felt that it was necessary to raise their children in a Christian environment and in a church atmosphere. And now that I look back, it wasn't such a bad thing. So here I am in elementary, and I'm in the music business because, I remember a talent show that I attended. And I did my own song. I was the only one in the talent show to do my own song. Everybody else was doing other people's songs. Like some guy did Run DMC. Whose house? Say what? Run's house. Say what? Whose house? Say what? Run house. And I was the only cat that performed my own song, and I wrote it, and it was called Cootie Cat, and that's a crazy title. I know. In fact, I might go back and do a song now called Cootie Cat, but I don't know. I guess because I love pussy, or I was heavily involved with women, even in elementary, that made me come up with the title of that song, but I called it Cootie Cat. Said, I'm 5'4", my legs kind of bow. I might rap a little slow, but I'm so slow. And I can't remember the rest. And it was crazy, and I won the talent show. And me winning that talent show, then I could acknowledge what it was telling me the world was involved in. But now I look back and say a song called Cootie Cat running the charts. It makes sense to me why other artists in this day and time that speaking negativity is running the atmosphere and running the radio waves and taking control of the music industry. It's because negativity sells. I didn't know that then, but I won the talent show. And I remember leaving elementary, going to junior high, and I still did the same thing, music. I won a talent show in my junior high year. I think it was my 10th grade year. I performed a Bobby Brown song. My prerogative. I can do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. I can live my life. It's my prerogative. That was hot. In the baggy pants and the swap hair and the whole image that Bobby Brown presented to the world. I was intrigued by it, and it aroused me. It made me excited because I wanted to always be an entertainer, and Bobby Brown was an entertainer. So I went into my junior high year with, in my opinion, a full capacity of energy for entertainment in the music industry. In junior high now. So I went on to high school, and in high school, my 10th grade year, it was a guy at the cafeteria. In the cafeteria area is where all the MCs used to come together and battle. And I used to always be scared. I ain't never want to say nothing. I was sitting there listening to them niggas, And I just felt like I was going to eat them niggas alive when I finally built the nuts to say something. But I was scared. I was nervous because, back then I was really, a drug dealer. Even in high school, I was slinging drugs. I was taking 20,000 to school. I had the prettiest woman in school. So, because I was in the streets. And we'll get there later. But anyway, I wrote a song one day. I said, I'm going to be ready for these niggas. So I went home and wrote a song. It said, dynamically, suckers are trying to be exclusive created, but still they can't fuck with me. I was the incredible, now I'm the incredible. I grab the microphone and make the suckers look pitiful, devastated, devastated. It say devastated, cooperated, instructions are complicated, conclusions are adapted. I'm always a nominated. No MC in this world could defeat me. You know you can't, so why try to beat me? You better take a blast to the past and remember this whooping that I gave you, so you better surrender. I am the best, so I can just sit back. I whooped your ass, so why not admit that? Now, in my 10th grade year, and I was into Eric B then, so I kind of wanted to give a Eric B and Rakim type flow. I was an Eric B and Rakim fan. But yo, um, let's rewind. One day, I'm I'm at the Mississippi State Fair, and I'm um I'm there with a little friend girl, and we, riding and eating cotton candy, and doing what we do every October when the Mississippi State Fair comes to Jackson. And um, I get a phone call, and it's my cousin. And I think I'm about 14, 15 years old, but at this time, I'm overly grown. At this time, at 12 years old, I was selling dope with 30-year-old niggas. So that always made me appear to be older than what I was, even if it was just the way I carried myself. And my cousin said, first I was at the fair, then something came to me because my mom was in the hospital, and she was sick from diabetes, and diabetes was taking control of her life and overwhelming her existence. It was to the point where she get a cut on her stomach, it wouldn't heal. It'll just get worse, and she had this big hole in her stomach showing her flesh. And I used to go to the hospital and visit her, but every time I go, she used to talk sad, and I took it as sad. Even though she was just saying her goodbyes and finalizing her position and accepting what she was going through, I took it as a young man that was losing his mom, that, she was saying her goodbyes. So I stopped going to the hospital because it used to hurt me so bad to go there and hear her talk like that, and to hear her say her final goodbye. And that's all she used to talk about, and I can't blame her now. But this is what she used to talk about. She used to talk about, son, do this and do that, cause mama ain't gonna be around much longer. Conversation like that. And, it used to hurt my heart. So I used to start hesitating when it was time to go visit her. I'm like, I don't want to go because I don't want to see her like that, and I don't want to hear that stuff that make me cry when I leave the hospital no more. So it had been at least a month that I hadn't been by there to see my mom. And while I was at the state fair, and I started missing her because I started reflecting on times where me where she used to take me to the state fair when I was younger, you know, and we used to go eat cotton candy and apple candies and chicken on a stick. So I all of a sudden just started throwing up at the fair. And I wasn't sick. I didn't have no headache. I don't know. I just started throwing up out of the blue. And I said, I'm going to go see my mom. I miss my mom. I ain't seen her in a month and a half. I need to go see her. I miss her. So I called the hospital because I just wanted to hear her voice. And then nobody answered the phone. So I thought maybe the hospital released her because they, throughout her little expert and throughout the time of her being sick, she was in and out of the hospital. Some days she'll feel good, the hospital will release her. She'll be showing signs of improvement. Then a day or later or 2 days later, she'll be right back in the hospital. So it was like she had her good moments and her bad moments. So I wasn't surprised that she didn't answer the hospital phone when I called. I just thought she had been released as normal, as usual. So I called my grandmother's house and nobody answered the phone. And then when I hang up from calling my grandmother, and I was on a payphone back then. Yeah, I was at a payphone. I'm putting quarters in the phone. Cloop, quarters, cloop, cloop. So I called my cousin cause my grandma wasn't on the phone. And I said, cuz, did they let mama out the hospital? They let my mama out the hospital? And she said, boy, your mama dead. She just died. And I dropped the phone and I lost contact with the world. Now that I think back, I really blanked out. Gave a Dauphine a dub to use his car, and I remember getting in the car driving, and I blanked out. I was already blanked out, and I was going around a curve on Martin Luther King by Lanier High School, and there was a steep curve right there, and I didn't make a huge enough turn, based on the speed I was going, and the car flipped over on the football field. It flipped till I landed on the football field and I didn't feel nothing. I got out, the car landed on the roof. I climbed out and I got out the car and began to run and I was on Martin Luther King and I knew people that lived on Bailey Avenue. So all I had to do was make that right, then make that right on Bailey Avenue and go in Mayfield Apartments. And that's what I did and I knocked on a friend window, my partner named Escon, Daryl. And when I knocked on this window, the window just busted out. I didn't even think that I knocked on it that hard. Now that I think back, there was just some type of energy going in me knowing that I just lost my mom and knowing that I was 14, 15 and I didn't know what I was going to do. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. It was the worst thing. It was the worst thing you can possibly imagine. I can't even begin to tell you. How? I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how to take it. It was just unbelievable. What am I going to do without my mom? That's all I got. And I'm young, and I know that I used to treat my mom bad. I know I used to disrespect her. I knew I used to talk back. I knew I was a fucked up child. And she still loved me, so it hurt me the worst when she died. I experienced the most pain. So when I went to her funeral and they left that casket, and I actually saw my mom laying inside this wooden box, it took me to another level of pain. That's why I used to wonder why when I was younger and I used to go to funerals of people that died in my family or friends. There's many of them. And I used to notice when they opened up the casket that people start, a lot of people go crazy and ballistic when they open up that casket. And I used to wonder why that was. I was like, they wasn't doing all that before they opened the casket. I just never really got that part. I don't know if I was mentally insane for thinking why they didn't do it, or if for wondering or investigating, or if it was normal for me to wonder why they wasn't bursting out in tears prior to them opening up the casket. Then I found that out when my mom died. Then I realized the people that were yelling and screaming and hurting when the casket got open was the ones that didn't do right by her or him or that person. Those are the ones that did them wrong. Those are the ones turned their back on them. Cause that shit hurt you when somebody gone, knowing you didn't do right. Then I noticed that the people that wasn't crying and the people that wasn't bothered, those were the people that did right by them. They ain't feel bad. They was like, I did all I could do for them. I answered all their calls. I sent them every nickel I had. I was there when they were locked up. Then it began to make sense to me why when the casket opened, certain people just fucking go crazy because that realization that that person is gone sets in. And they know they don't got another chance to physically tell that person they sorry. So When that casket opened and I saw my mom in that casket, I literally left the church. I left the funeral and I started walking back to the hood. I didn't even go to the burial site. I just couldn't go no further. I just wanted to die. I wanted to get hit by a car on the way. And I was on Robinson Road at Greater Bethlehem Temple in Jackson, Mississippi. That's where my mom's services was. And that was literally about 40 miles from Shady Oak, if not more. Because I had to go down Prentice. I had to leave Robinson, make that right, then make a right on, is that Prentice? And then went through the Maple Street area, down past Lanier and Maple Street apartment, made that left on Martin Luther King, and walked down Martin Luther King past Mary C. Jones on the right, going down to the Shells, and walked through the Delta Mart parking lot, walked through the church parking lot. Yeah, we was living on Park Ray, I think, when she died. And I couldn't even go to the burial site. It was horrendous. It was my punishment. It was everything that I ever did coming back on me. It was my reality. It was my do or die. It was my survive or die situation and moment. So I remember my mom dying and the rent lady put a lock on our door so I couldn't get in the house. It's not that I wanted to be there anyway, but it's the only place I had to go because I was living with my mom. And she hadn't paid the rent in a few months. And when she died, they automatically put the locks on the door. And I didn't have nowhere to go. So when I made it to the house, the doors was locked. So I said, I'm going to just strike out from Parkway all the way to Watkins Drive, where my sister was living. And took off walking, and my sister, when I made it to her house, she had company and she had her friends over there. She knew I was a womanizer, and she was thinking, I don't know where her mind was, but she didn't want to let me in around her friends. So she didn't open the door for me after it took me approximately maybe about 3.5, 4 hours to make it over there walking. I had to walk down Northside Drive. I took a left on Watkins, walked all the way down Watkins, and took a right on Forest, and there was apartments on Watkins and Forest. So it took me about 3 hours, 3.5 hours to walk there, and she went over the door for me because she had company and her female friends. She didn't want me associated with them or near them because at this time I was already a womanizer and a manipulator. So she didn't want me around them, so I couldn't come inside. So I was tired, I was thirsty. Now this what really kind of broke me down even more. I said, sis, I walked all the way from over here from the hood. Can I have some water? I'm thirsty. And she said, get away from my door. I'm not giving you no water. So I left there and went to Lake Hyco. It was a park across the street from these apartments called Lake Hyco. And I went over to Lake Hyco Park and I sat on the slide where I eventually dozed off and woke up in the wee hours of the morning. And I was walking down Hanging Moss when one of my homeboys stopped. One of my homeboys named Po Boy, old Larry Patrick. He stopped and, he gave me a ride and I jumped in the car. He was like, man, sorry to hear about your mom. Everybody in the hood, everybody knew my mom had died, even the ones that wasn't at her funeral. And he gave me a ride and he took me to his house because I ain't had nowhere to go. And him and his mom welcomed me in their home and treated me like I was family. She made me a pallet on the living room floor, made me breakfast. And then, I stretched out and I got a little rest. And when we got up out a few hours later, because it was already 6 in the morning, maybe when I ran across him. And he got up and he said, man, what you gonna do with your life now, man? What's up? Can't just be out here doing nothing, walking around. I said, man, I gotta do whatever I gotta do, and I didn't know what that was. All I know is I don't wanna go on, I just wanna die. So he said, man, I'm finna go to the hood. I got in the car with him. We went on the way to the hood. He said, shit, man, I'm gonna give you like 3 rocks to make you some money. Now, I was already a drug dealer. I already been in and out the game at this time, but now is no time to get out. I only got one opportunity, and that's to stay in, no matter what. Don't let nobody put me out. Don't let nobody make me give up. Don't give up. Don't stop. Just go with what you know. And this was the first time I made that decision. And I had already sold dope in my life. That shit started in '86 when it hit my hands. And niggas I grew up with was already rich by then when I just found out about the shit. So I took them 3 rocks Po Boy gave me. I went to the hood and I ain't had nowhere to go, no ride, no home, no nothing. All I could do is try to find somewhere to go and make some money. So I started developing relationships with dope heads, dope fiends, J's, and I started. It was this J in the hood called Leroy that everybody loved, and he had the hottest spot in my hood, Shady Oak, and I developed a relationship with Leroy, and we became close. We was like motherfucking Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, you know what I mean, in the dope game. Meaning that I took the dope and passed it to him, and goddamn it, that nigga there goddamn slam dunked the ball and made sure nigga I made thousands of dollars a night. So we developed a relationship, and I was sitting at his crack house, and I took the 3 rocks that Po Boy gave me, and I made $60, and I went back to Po Boy and got a double up for the 60. And he gave me 6 rocks, and each one was worth 20. So that's $120 worth of dope. So I went back to Leroy house, and once again it's booming like always. I made $120 so fast. So after I saw that this shit could help me survive because I ain't had nothing. Being able to go eat a McDonald's sandwich was something to me. I ain't have nothing. So after I saw this dope shit was working, it was keeping at least keeping money in my pocket at the time. I turned it to a full-time job. I eventually started living in Leroy House, the crack house. I eventually started living in there. I moved in. I ain't had nowhere else to go. So eventually I got up to like making profit, maybe about $500-$600 profit. My money back plus $500-$600. So I started getting a hotel room. And I go to the hotel and then I get dope to pick me up, drop me off. Then I was still going to school though. I never stopped going to school. So I go to the hood and I goddamn go to the bus stop and jump on the bus with the niggas and everybody and go to school. I was going to Brinkley Junior High, you know, right there on Ridgeway. So I go to school every day and I was in junior high. I was going to Brinkley. And I just looked up and found out that I was surviving. I don't know how. I really don't know how I'm surviving. All I know is I'm weak and my heart is empty without my mom. And his life is strange. It's like I've been erased and it's like I've been reborn again, literally. Like I died and came back to another world that I don't know nothing about. Just a new world to me. I gotta live without my mom. How am I to do this? So it was a crucial point in my life that really changed me in a lot of ways. It made me stronger. Because I had to live on my own. I had to survive by any means necessary. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was compelled and I was in a situation that it was do or die. So I had to do or die. So after so long, I fucked around and looked up, and I was making $20,000 and $30,000 at that time, and that was a lot of fucking money to me. I felt like a kingpin. I felt unstoppable. I felt fucking, cause I know how hard it is. It was hard to make $5. So to have the discipline to make 30,000 and save it and see it and actually literally see $30,000 cash money was amazing to me. It was beautiful, and I thought that would make me settle and make me slow down, but it only enticed me. Cause now I'm thinking if I can make 30, I can make 100. So I started staying out even later. I was out when only me and Dofine was out. It was times I was the only drug dealer out. Motherfuckers had to fuck with me. Even other nigga customers had to come fuck with me because them niggas shut down and them motherfucker was fiending. And they needed some dope and I was the only nigga out there and that's how I built my clientele. Because they started seeing that it was better to fuck with me and I was taking advantage of it. So when other niggas clientels come see me, I get them motherfuckers a 30 for $20 and nobody else wasn't doing that. I'll lose because I know you gotta lose to win. So I give them motherfuckers a 30 slab for $20. That means they can goddamn smoke 10 and go sell 20 or smoke 20 and still got a dime to go sell to make some more money or you smoke it all. But a lot of the crackheads I was fucking with, they was hustlers. Excuse me, y'all. I'm under the weather, man. Coming from Florida to Georgia, from the hot to the cold, still wearing shorts and t-shirts like it's hot out here. Got me a little under the weather. Excuse me, y'all. But that's how me and crackheads became best friends because I was the only nigga they could confine to, and they were the only people I could confine to. I found out that they were my best friend as much as they looked at me as they dreamed drug dealer, a drug dealer that they dreamed about, a nigga that's always available, always gonna give you more than your money, and always got some shit I can smoke and sell. So I was they dream drug dealer, and they were my key to having financial discipline and success. So I remember being up 5 in the morning for days and meeting new people, greeting new people, taking a chance. I don't know if they the narcotics, the feds, I don't know what they is. I don't give a fuck at this time. I'm just at doing this time. I'm just all I know is get the money, and all I know is shit. I gotta keep this shit going. So I do this shit. I look up. I'm 18 years old, and I fuck around and run into um, my old math teacher, which was somebody that grew up in my hood too, Brenda. You know, she used to teach me math in school, and she had a big booty then. I was young. I used to tell her how I felt. Like, damn, you look good in that skirt. Ooh wee. And I was never afraid. Then years later, her son, which was the same age as I am, and I put out a record, and he was a fan of my music. He bought one of the albums, and he took it to his house, and his mom seen it and said, that looked like the nigga I used to teach math. And he said, that is him. He doing music, which I had already been doing music. They just didn't know it. So she looked at the album cover. She said, you know how to contact him? Because she thought back when I was just a young nigga trying to throw hints at her and was saying certain little shit that other students wasn't saying. Something new to her. And she said, that nigga grown now. I wanted to fuck him then. I can fuck him now. So she got her son to contact me. And he said, you know, my mom love your music. And, you know, and I was like, damn. Wonder is that motherfucker fine as she was when she was teaching me math. So I contacted her, and I remember I'm 18 years old, and I guess that was God well saying, you know, we can use her credit and use your money to get your life in a better position and get you on the road to, you know, your destiny. And that's what happened. Me and Brenda got together. We got a big nice house out in West Jackson. You know, we got out the hood. You know, I started getting lazy and gaining weight because I started making money easy. I, it was to the point my money started making money. I ain't really do shit no more. I get the dope. Soon as I touch it, it's gone. So I ain't have shit to do but goddamn start recording records. But we'll get back with y'all on part 2 of my life. And it's just the beginning. And I hope y'all have learned something about my life that can make y'all life better. That's the whole intentions. That's my goal. is to make somebody's life better or more meaningful. So I appreciate y'all joining in. If you like part one of my life, then hit the like button and subscribe and leave a comment. Until then, thanks for tuning in to the Chris Hamilton Show. I'm your host, Young Guns. Peace.